Admiral, welcome, and thank you for almost 4 decades of service to our nation. As you know, based on our conversation before your hearing, I'm very concerned about the military's culture and what I see as a lack of focus on warfighting. The state of professional military education is one of my top concerns. In September, 2 War College professors wrote an op-ed in City Journal that said, quote, "War colleges no longer teach warfighting." This is consistent, unfortunately, with cautions I've heard from field grade officers and War College students who warn that war colleges care more about academic accreditation and growing junior foreign policy wonks than about building war-winning leaders. These students have expressed their frustrations and fear that we're in danger of ceding what they called intellectual overmatch to Russia and China. I would note that it appears the Joint Staff seems to agree. They released a memo 18 months ago that called for renewed War College focus on lethality. These 2 professors, though, claim that this guidance has since been, quote, "lost in a maze of bureaucracy." Could you talk to me, Admiral, about your plans to implement the findings of that memo?
Certainly, thank you, and thanks for the discussion a couple of weeks ago. First, I'm a big fan of joint professional military education. And for me, and my experience at National War College and my interactions with the Naval War College as an example, the key for JPME is to go beyond the tactical to the operational and the strategic. I think that's where we need to center our war colleges going forward. There is an element of policy, but how does the military fit within the policy pieces of the diplomatic, informational, military, and economic? But the real power of the war colleges and JPME writ large is to ensure that we bridge that gap from the tactical to the strategic. So if confirmed and going forward, I would look forward to working with the services to discuss that to ensure that there's the appropriate focus on war fighting and lethality.
Thank you. Could I get your commitment to follow up on a progress report on that by May?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. You know, when I first ran for office, I guess it's almost 10 years ago now, a nice elderly lady asked me if I was the one who had gotten out of the Army not too long ago. And I said yes, and I was running for Congress now, and I said yes. And she said, "Why would you leave the country's most respected institution for the country's least respected institution?" I wish that wasn't the case about Congress, but I've always been proud that it is the case about our military. Therefore, I viewed with alarm the annual Reagan National Defense Survey, which recently found a staggering 25% collapse in American trust in the military. And in the past 11 months, my office has fielded hundreds of concerns from service members across the services who say they believe that senior DoD leadership has been politicized in inappropriate and unprofessional ways. Their complaints include, and these are their words, not mine, 1, counter-extremism training that draws blanket condemnation of troops who privately hold conservative views. 2, training to fight things like the weather rather than China's growing military. And 3, so-called diversity training that has taken on blatantly political, even racist tones, including forcing service members to segregate themselves by race or promoting based on skin color, sexual orientation, and gender rather than operational excellence and achievement. Do you think it's fair to say that some of these policies, which are quite controversial, have contributed to that 25% decline in trust in our military?
Sir, I too am disappointed and alarmed by that number. I read the same report that you did, and that's concerning to me as someone who's dedicated 37 years to this and take great pride in what we're able to do. I think the key issue here is what you expect of us, and that is that you expect us to remain apolitical and to provide our best military advice. I think that's the key issue, and everything we do needs to be revolved around that central concept.
Well, Admiral, what we've consistently heard from many of those service members who have reached out to us is that they feel they are being presented with highly politicized training modules. They voice their concerns or objections, and then their chain of command will accuse them of acting in a political fashion. So they find themselves in a catch-22. Let me give you just one example of something that seems a bit strange to me. Marine Base Quantico recently posted a job listing for a diversity, equity, and inclusion officer for a salary of $144,000 a year, more than triple the median household income in Arkansas. Also close to what a base commander makes. I mean, do you think that we should be paying $144,000 to a diversity, equity, and inclusion officer at Quantico? Is this the kind of thing that might cause Americans to lose confidence in the priorities of DoD leadership?
Don't have the context for in which that billet was advertised. I do think we need to have important discussions about things like that. To the pay scale, I really can't comment on what that job is being asked to do. But again, I think the idea that you need from us is to be apolitical. And I want to go back to something you mentioned in your preamble, sir, if I could, and that was that the concern on the part of the members who have communicated with you that they could not voice their views. I think the role of commanders is to create that open dialogue and have that ability to discuss things, and that there should be no reprisals for that kind of thing. And so going forward, we need to make sure we have that environment, the safe environment where people can have that open dialogue and that discussion.
Yeah, my time's expired. I will just say that what we expect of you and all of the senior military leaders is to address these cultural challenges. We also have spoken before the hearing about my concerns on the surface Navy and its cultural challenge in the report that I released with Congressman Gallagher and a few other Navy veterans. We can write laws in this institution, we can pass budgets, but no organization can thrive and make real change without dynamic leadership. That's why they always said leadership was the most important element of combat power. So we're counting on you and other senior leaders to help address some of these cultural challenges and hopefully win back the quarter of the American people who said they've lost trust in our military. And that's what I expect to see, and that's what we'll be monitoring in the years ahead.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, Admiral.
Thank you, Senator Cotton. Senator King, please.